is Francesco. I'm a political science student from the University of Bologna. I'm here with an exchange program thanks to the RPLC. I'm here for studying the GIS, so the Geographic Information System, and how the Geographic Information System can improve the efficiency of the food system, and for studying mapping the real distribution of the local market distribution in the southwest of Manitoba. The exchange was of 3 months. I like Canada. It works very well than to Italy in comparison with Italy, and it's wonderful. There is a lot of beautiful landscape. You can go hiking, and I don't know. I travel a lot also during my weekend, and I saw a lot of places, and it's a wonderful place, really. Also Manitoba too. Probably the first thing, the most important things that I have noticed right now is that the distance is totally different. So when we talk about local market products, probably the comparison between local products from Italy, like the kilometer zero and the distance from the products, is totally different. Here Canada works in a big distance for everything. So with my studies and with my supervisor here, we have realized that probably for have a good access to a local market, you have to drive around 45 kilometers. That in Italy is a really huge distance. So the distance is one of the most important things that I have noticed here, but the distribution is not bad. Like for the overall study area, like when we are talking about southwest of Manitoba, the distribution is good. When we were looking in the 3 case study that were Brandon, Amioda, and Killarney, we found some difference and inefficiency in the distribution, but the overall distribution is good, pretty good. Dion was my supervisor here, with Dion Weisman. He's the teacher of geomatics class in Brandon University, and I want to spend great word for him because he's a really polite, kind, and he's a great person and teacher. With him we work on the GIS with the HarkMap GIS, and we work on the Network Analysis Approach, that is a particular tool of the GIS. And we have used some tools from the network analysis that were origin, destination, cost metrics, service area, and the closest facility for mapping the real distribution of the local market, and also for make a comparison between the distribution of the local market and grocery store in the 3 case study, like Amioda, Killarney, and Brandon. And this is the statement of the purpose of my project. So we want to try to understand if the GIS network analysis approach can be used to identify model capturing the real distribution of the local market in the southwest of Manitoba. And in particular, for 3 case study that were Brandon, Amioda, and Killarney, we have tried to make a comparison between the access to a local market and access to a grocery store, and try to understand if there are some inefficiency of accessibility to a local food products or a conventional food products. This is the case study area where I focus my study. And here there are some definitions. So why the local market are important, because it's not just, we are not talking about just the fresh and the tasty of the foods, but it's important for community, for support your community, and also for food security and food governance. So I think it's a really important topic in a rural area like Brandon and the southwest of Manitoba. So this is the first really map that I have created with the GIS, and this is the real distribution of the local market in the southwest of Manitoba. We are talking about 33 local markets. I have calculated here the minimum, the average, and the maximum distance between the local market by the origin, destination, cost metrics, for understand how much you want to travel for attend the local market. And the results shows that 80 kilometers is the maximum distance that in Italy probably never happens, really. Just probably the minimum distance is 7 kilometers, and in Italy could be the average distance. So when we are talking about the distance in Canada, we can figure out that here the distance is bigger. I chose, the distance are totally subjective, and the future step of this project will be to go ahead and submit a survey by the Burek for us to the people how really you want to travel for attend the local market, and we want to make some question also to the vendors. So, however, this is the rings, and each rings have a different cutoff distance that are 5 kilometers, 15 kilometers, and 35 kilometers. And the service area shows that only in 35 kilometers you have a 94% of access of population for the local market. So it's a good distribution, but only in the cutoff distance of 35 kilometers. This is a big really distance. If you consider 5 kilometers of distance, just a little bit more than a half have access to a local market. So this was an interesting results. Here you can see the free case study again, and there are some reasons why we have chosen like Brandon, Killarney, and Amioda. And the reason is that Brandon is the biggest city in my case study. And this is the real distribution of the grocery store are the stars, the yellow stars, and the circle and the yellow circle are the local market distribution. And when I made the analysis, the service area analysis again, with the cutoff of 500, 1 kilometers and 3 kilometers, the results shows that the distribution for the grocery store in Brandon, so we're talking about accessibility to a grocery store, is really good. Like 99% of people have access to a grocery store in 3 kilometers. But when we talk about local market, just in the same cutoff distance, so 3 kilometers, we are talking about 54% of the population. So more than just a little bit more than a half again. And also you have considered that during the winter no local market is open. So probably there is an efficiency here in the distribution of the city. And for that reason I want to show another interesting things. I did a what-if scenario. I've planned a what-if scenario, and with the GIS editing tool, I have modified the real distribution of the local market. So I switched this position from here to here, from there to here, and I calculate again the service area, and the result shows that if you have an increase of access for population more than 20%. So the conclusion was that GIS was shown to be an effective tool for the identification and the analysis of the food distribution in a city. And thanks to it is possible to build a what-if scenario for planning a better management of the local distribution market. So probably it's just the first step of the research. There are some weakness right now because it's a young project, but we want to go ahead, and the future steps is we want to make a survey, and we want to make a survey for vendors, and we want to make a survey for sellers for understand how much they want to travel, how many local markets they attend in a regular routine day. If you want to plan a better management of the food system, probably the GIS could be a great tool. So you can decide to plan a new distribution where could be the next local market. When you want to open the next local market, you can understand by the GIS, because in the GIS you can find a lot of information about real future distribution, density of the population, distance, cutoff. So you have a lot of information for policy about food system distribution.